Thank you, Florian, for your introduction. My name is Max. I'm the co-founder of Easy6. We empower Korean learners to self-study to success by giving them the tools to quickly bridge a gap between Korean companies' language needs and their language skills. Today, we're mostly going to be talking about how we use PostHog. First, I'll just start with a short background about what we're doing, and then talk about, how awesome PostHog is. To get started, how do we get here? So today is a very Dutch evening because I'm also from the Netherlands originally. In 2013, I was studying mathematical statistics back in the Netherlands, but even back then, I already knew that as soon as I graduated, I wanted to move to Korea. So this was before BTS, before the Korea hype, so there weren't that many Korean resources out there yet, but still, I just did my best learning Korean using the outline resources. And as I planned, as soon as I graduated, I went and came to Korea. After a 1-year working holiday, I then started on a second bachelor's degree in computer science in Daegu at Kyungpook National University. After graduating that, I entered the job market, becoming a backend developer, Node.js, at a Korean startup in Daegu. After about 2 years there, where I learned a lot, it was a great time, but I felt it was time to upgrade, so I became a data engineer at a big huge tech company in Seoul. This was a great opportunity. I got to see the inside of loads of these, big Korean conglomerates like Samsung, Hyundai, all their subsidiaries. They were our clients, so we partnered together with them. But after 1.5 years there, I really felt that I wanted to make my own thing. But as some other founders here might have experienced themselves. Once you try and become a founder, I think it's very common the first year you pivot like 5 or 6 times. You have so many ideas, there's lots of stuff you want to make, but then you just figure out, hey, maybe this isn't something that I can do on my own. So, after 5 or 6 pivots, in April of this year, I knew what I wanted to make, which was an application to really help people like myself, like back when I was learning Korean, what did I need the most? And what was just not out there yet right now? So that's why I started making Easy6. So yeah, I'll go through this very quickly to get to PostHog as quickly as possible. But basically, the big issue that we saw is that on one hand, more and more people come to Korea, more and more people want to work in Korea, more and more people are taking the Korean language exam, the TOPIK exam, more than doubled since 2017. And same time, population decline, labor shortages, especially outside of Seoul, as we all know, Korea decreasing population, not as much in Seoul, but very severely felt in Busan, Daegu, and especially even more so in smaller cities. However, while there's plenty of Korean online resources and applications, there's not too much specifically to get to that level where you can actually work in the language or you can get a job. Most of the market is centered around intermediate or beginner or K-pop, K-dramas, and so on. But we really want to help bridge this big gap between people who want to get a job here. So just to show an example, in the top left, there's an image of those who've lived here for a while have probably been there sometime. I think it's Yugane, like a duck dynasty place. So they're looking for just foreigners just to work in the kitchen, but even they're asking for at least TOPIK level 5. So that's a good example. And yeah, more from Reddit. 3 people. We didn't make this up. These are all different people, but this is common nowadays. Now, I do want to caveat here that in tech, there definitely is a growing number of companies that require English instead of Korean. And Dev Korea is doing a great job at accelerating that and helping people find those jobs. But a lot of people who want to work here are, unlike us, they're not developers, they're not in tech. And also a lot of people, unlike us, are not comfortable with English. So those jobs aren't really viable for them. So yeah, we hope to provide this solution. That's the goal. Right, so how does it work? Why are we different from the rest? So it's really based on open-ended questions. So open-ended writing questions mostly, where we really pinpoint areas to improve, provide actionable feedback, precisely explains the why and how between what needs to be changed. And this way making this high-quality feedback loop available to a really broad range of students. Because a lot of the time, people who want to find a job here, often they're not the most what should I say? They don't have much financial resources. They don't have a lot of time resources. Often they've just graduated here from university and they quickly need to find a job for a visa. So they don't have the time to enroll or money to enroll in expensive language programs. Right, so these are just some screenshots showing what it looks like. So on the left, you see you can type an answer to a certain prompt, an essay, and then on the right, we explain what needs to be improved. Now, looking forward, we've started with the most pressing need, which is the language test, as we've shown all these companies requiring it. However, as said, the real goal is to make people job ready. Right, in terms of metrics, last 30 days, we've had over 17,000 exercises completed through app. And as you can see, it's the hockey stick curve. It's a bit like the CO2 atmosphere level, I think. Yeah, it's really exploding, so it's great. Now let's move on to the meat of this, which is PostHog, which is why you guys are all here. So why PostHog? Firstly, they have the best memes on LinkedIn, and honestly, I consider being funny on LinkedIn more difficult than making a good SaaS product. So this is a real sign of quality, I think, and intelligence. Secondly, I think as you already explained super well. It's very dev-focused, super easy to integrate with our stack. React Native, which someone asked about, and generous free tier, which also already he talked about very well in a previous presentation. So in terms of integration with our app, as we said, we're a mobile app, not web. So React Native. Now, how easy is this? It's genuinely like one line of code, right? If you look on the left, all we import a PostHog provider from the SDK, we add the API key, and we say whether we are storing our data in the EU or the US. And that's it. Then, however, we don't just do that. We also wrap it in a singleton wrapper class and introduce a hook. And there's a few reasons we do that. Firstly, we want to initialize something called super properties. So super property is something that is like sticky, so it gets sent with every single event in that specific session. So some examples could be, let's say if we're running a simulator, if we're in dev mode, then always include the super property is tester is true, right? And it's very easy to filter out all of those events. Or similarly, we have an internal update code. So we always include the update code in every event. So it's easy for us to filter on that. It also adds a lot of type safety, which we will come back to. And just a lot of convenience. Now, secondly, we're going to touch on an integration. So Dev Korea 2, I think it was about Revenue Cat. Is that correct? Was it 2? Yes, it was 2. Okay, great. So we use Revenue Cat for our payments, as many people do in mobile apps, because it's very convenient. Now, the great thing is that PostHog and Revenue Cat have a first-class integration for this. This too is incredibly simple. All you need to do is the Revenue Cat SDK itself just expose a method where you can add the PostHog user ID. Now, in our specific case, we actually have only anonymous IDs. Like, we do not link users to emails or any personal information. So it's just like a UUID that PostHog automatically sets. So once we do that, you can see in the middle is Revenue Cat. So once someone does a purchase, the middle image is of a purchase in Revenue Cat. Someone purchased a subscription to our app. And then on the bottom, you can see that it sent an event immediately to PostHog, including that PostHog user ID that we sent. And on the right is PostHog, the initial purchase event sent from Revenue Cat. So it's all integrated, it's all connected, very easy, and so we can just easily see, correlate things between purchases and other PostHog events, which is great. To come back to type safety, which is one reason why we use our singleton class. So by default, and it's a good thing, PostHog lets you name events completely yourself. They let you send whatever properties you like. It's extremely flexible. However, that means that if you want to use the same event in several places, right, you kind of want to have some type safety. You want to know that you're sending the right properties for the event so that for the same event, you're not sending properties A in place A and a different set of properties in place B. So what we've done is we've created this huge type of interface with all of our events and corresponding properties. The same goes for feature flags, of which we have 3. So we have the feature flag names as well as their values that they can take. Now, I know that everyone who uses TypeScript absolutely loves generics. So you can see in the bottom how we use it. It extends the interface. So when we use the capture method, we can automatically get a perfect autocomplete for the event names. And then after the event name, we perfectly get autocomplete for the properties. So we can be sure that we always send the correct times. Now, why are we using PostHog? To get insights, obviously. That's what it's all about. So let me show you something, and I hope this is going to work. Can we click on this? Yes, we can. Great. Now, I need to move this over. I'm sorry for the delay, but okay. So I see. Yes, on my left it has the thing. Yeah, no worries. As said, we only record anonymous events, so we're okay with showing you this data because there's no PII in there or anything. So this is for the question, is anyone getting stuck, right? Which is important. Now, there's multiple ways to interpret this question. Obviously, one can be like, are people dropping off in the onboarding flow? But the way we interpret this question is more like when we launch a new version, are we suddenly seeing that people are submitting much less questions, which means there's probably going to be an issue with the update, right? Of course, this doesn't replace error logging and so on, but it's just an additional metric. So here we see these are our internal update codes that we registered as a super property, gets sent automatically with every single event. And this way we can just see, hey, for a new update code, is the median amount of questions going down or changing? So, for example, we can see here that over the last few days, suddenly, something has gone down a lot. The percent of new users successfully submitting question has gone down a lot. So that could be a potential issue, right? Now, luckily, in this case, we know that there's a different reason for that. It's because we've had a new influx of users who are a bit more casual. So this is expected, but still, this could have been an issue. So good to know. Now, going back and looking at the next one, should we even be bothering with first-class iPad support? Very important question for mobile developers, especially if you're solo or duo developers. It can take a lot of time to make sure that everything works on every single device, on every single resolution. Does it work in portrait? Does it work in landscape? Does everything look great? So it's really important in terms of prioritization to know, okay, is this worth our time? So what we do is we make a dashboard. There we go. And this shows very well, hey, how many people are using landscape? How many people are using portrait? Are people in landscape more active users? Yes, they are, by quite a lot. So we actually want people to use landscape rather than portrait. This was really important for us, for example, because I'm not an iPad user, so I just didn't notice. Of course, I could have Googled, and I'm sure I could have found it, but I just didn't think about it, right? If you're not a tele user, you just don't think about these things. But then this data just shows, hey, these landscape users, these landscape iPad users are actually your best users, so you better pay a lot of attention to them. That's just one more dashboards that we have. We have like 15 dashboards, but I think I'm only going to show 3 of them. So this is the third one. Do we need to highlight certain features more? Are any underused compared to their potential? Now, of course, just because a feature is not used a lot doesn't mean that it necessarily is underused or that we need to highlight it more, right? Because it could just be that it's just not a very important feature. It's just not that useful. But even that is very good knowledge to know. So yeah, this is for us one of the most important dashboards really, that we can see, hey, only 37% of our users are using our typing trainer. Do we think that that is a reasonable amount? Do we think that that makes sense? Or do we need to do more to highlight it and so on? So these are just, some of the insights that we use. And I'm sure this can provide a lot of inspiration for your own apps. It's just incredibly useful in terms of prioritization to see, okay, even is it still worth the maintenance burden, right, of maintaining this feature? Now, finally, there's experiments. So one of the main ones that we use that we want to show is about review prompt timing. So in mobile app development, reviews and ratings are very important. They're important especially because the App Store search algorithms, they really weigh it quite highly in their ranking factors. If you search for a certain term, then how high you place. A lot of the impact is based on both average ratings, but especially actually just the number of ratings, the sheer number of them. So it's quite important to make sure that people are rating your app. There's just no other way to get good SEO in the app space. So we show a prompt, as everyone does, like, are you enjoying the app? Would you like to rate it? Now, apps have very different strategies when it comes to when do you need to show this prompt. Like the most annoying apps, they show it right as you install. Like those are awful, right? Like we just install and they're already asking me to rate it. Like that's not good, right? But you also don't want to ask it like too late in the process where only a very small percentage of the users is ever going to get there. So it's all about the balance, right? It's all about the right timing. What is the best time to show it that people feel, okay, yeah, I can rate it, while also making sure that enough people are actually seeing the prompt in the first place. So this is one of the things that we're using our experiments for. So if you look at the code, we have a feature flag called review prompt minimum submissions threshold. So based on the feature flag, we decide, okay, do we show the review prompt after 4 exercise submissions or 5 or 6? It's that simple. Let's show you in the actual PostHog interface. Right, so here you can see the results of the experiment. So far, we still need to gather more data. It says, well, so far it looks like 5 might be the optimal amount. 6 is also decent. However, it's not statistically significant yet because the sample size is still not big enough and the effect size is not large enough. So it's just very good to know. It just means that we'll keep running this experiment because so far it very much looks like the 5 and 6 ones are indeed better, but it's just not enough to settle down yet. So we're just going to keep running it. As explained before, this is all set up using the feature flags feature behind the scenes, and you create a feature flag, you create a set of values that it can take, and for each value, you decide what percentage of your user base gets the value. In this case, we've just done it equally, so 1/3 of our users gets 4, 1/3 gets 5, and 1/3 gets 6 as the minimum threshold. Right. Thanks so much for listening. It was quite quick, but you guys have already been sitting here for quite a long time. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. I hope you learned something, and yeah, feel free to ask anything you're curious about. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Max. Any question? Yeah.
Yeah, hey, it's my turn. So do you guys use session replays?
No, we intentionally, but you can. So this is supported. I secretly just looked it up in the docs after you asked that question, but because I knew you were going to ask that. But the docs say that it is supported in React Native as well. Yeah. We kind of intentionally don't use it because to me it feels a little bit. I'm not sure the right word. It feels a little bit creepy to me so far. So that's why I don't use it. But you can if you want to. It's available.
Okay. That was it.
No more than 3 questions per person.
Thanks for the presentation. I wonder, can you experiment based on the budget or the demographic, etc.?
Sure. If you record the data, you can absolutely do that. You can record whatever data you like, including demographics, but obviously that means that you have to collect that data. So we personally, during our onboarding, we don't ask for like how old are you or where you're from or so on, but you can add that, and you can add that as, for example, as user properties so that they're sticky and they're always there for the user, and then you can very easily do such analyses.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much. I'm more interested in asking about Easy6. Right, so I'm curious about your revenue model. How are you guys making money?
Right. So normally that is on my slides, but I thought that you guys wouldn't find it very interesting, so I did delete that slide. But we are freemium. So normally, like the app is, you can do unlimited exercise for free. And premium is mostly just convenience features. So things like you can OCR, so you can like handwriting, scanning, extra questions, full exams. Yeah, there's just a set of things that are premium, but it's freemium, and the large majority of our users are free users.
All right, thank you.
Any other Yeah.
Lest you think no one is interested in your company, I'm curious what level it goes up to. You mentioned TOPIK 6. Is the app going all the way up there, or is it just the what levels is it for right now?
Yeah, so it's actually mainly for the more intermediate users to advanced. Currently, we don't really support like beginners. So it goes from level 1 to 6, and currently we are for levels 3 to 6, and we currently do not yet support levels 1 to 2.
Yeah. Wow, that's a long stretch.
Thank you. So I'm assuming your company is run in Korea, right?
Yes, we are incorporated in Korea. If that's what you mean.
So are you using your the EU account while you're logging it here, your analytics?
Correct. Yes.
Is there a big delay or lag that you experience?
No. I'm also quite sure that it all runs in the background anyway. I'm pretty sure it does. Like it like intelligently knows there's probably a buffer that it flushes every once in a while and so on. So we've not noticed any delay or added latency. No.
Any last question? Yeah.
I want to ask about your app because I check it right now, and my question is why you only have the sticky part, like only writing, but no like reading and like the key part.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So the reason for that is firstly because writing is the most difficult. So if you look at the average TOPIK scores, the writing part is like 20 points lower than reading and listening. So it's clear that people are struggling there. Secondly, it's by far the hardest to get feedback on because it's open-ended. So when it comes to reading and listening, there's just multiple choice. So if it's right, it's right. And if it's wrong, it's wrong, right? It's quite easy to practice and improve. But that's not the case with writing. You really need basically someone or something that really checks how you're doing. You can't really know that by yourself. I also very much experienced that myself back 10 years ago when I was very much studying for that. And there was just nothing out there yet at all. There was just no good high quality applications that actually did writing. There's a lot out there already for reading and listening, but not for writing. But we are actually very much planning to you can see here, we're planning early November, we're planning to do reading as well. So we are making it. I am very much currently developing that.
Thanks.
Thank you for your nice presentation. I have a simple question. Was this TOPIK app is checked by Korean teacher?
Yes, during development, we worked together with Korean like 한국어학원 teachers while developing it to make sure that everything is correct, it made sense, and the feedback is high quality.
Any last question? Yeah, okay.
Thank you for your presentation. What was your best PostHog insight that it makes your app more?
That's a really good question. So I think, firstly for me, the one that I mentioned already, the iPad one was really eye-opening. I think if you're not a tablet user yourself, it's really easy to just kind of not really think about it and not really consider it. And it was really thanks to PostHog that I realized like how many people use the app on tablets. and that they are actually a lot heavier users and such users with a lot more conversion potential than mobile users. So they're also higher value users. So that was really important, honestly, because it just means that I do a lot more testing on it, more screenshot optimization, and so on.
So you spot more valuable user on iPad.
Yes. So I would say, yeah, correct. So most of the very valuable insights have been around like, okay, who are the heavy users, right? And like what kind of people are they? What are they looking for? During onboarding, we also ask for things like, hey, why are you taking the exam, right? Like, do you want it to get a job? Do you want it to get a visa? Do you want it to enter university here? And so on. And like, based on that, we can really know, okay, like these people have the most potential to become heavy users. Or these people are currently being underserved and we need to actually do better for these people. Currently, we're not catering to them enough. That kind of thing has been very useful. So heavy user dashboard, I would say.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Max. Big round of applause again.